Good afternoon, Canberra. It's On the Right Track, back again for another wonderful year after a long hiatus. Your host, as always, Maggie Wright. We've got Patrick here in the studio today. How you doing, Patrick?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Yeah, it's first day jitters nearly again, starting the semester. Today we're going to talk a little bit of ultimate frisbee and also chess boxing, which is an interesting sport we're going to pepper in at the end, as we always do. So, ultimate frisbee, where did you want to start?
Well, it's a 7-on-7 game which you can play either mixed gendered, which means you have males and females on the field at the same time, or split gendered, where we have our opens category, which is predominantly males, and then our female category for our female identifying players. It's on the size of a soccer field, and you score like in NFL, where you need to catch the frisbee in the end zone. But it's also kind of a little bit like netball. When you're holding onto the frisbee, you're not allowed to be moving. So you can set your pivot foot and pivot around your one foot, but yet otherwise you're not allowed to move with it.
Yeah, I was always told in netball, that plant the carrot in your foot. You're not allowed to move. I don't know if you guys use that one in ultimate frisbee.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing, yeah. So you're allowed to take a few steps to slow down, but once you've stopped, you're completely still not allowed to move again.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, so catching in the end zone, just like the NFL.
Yeah.
Which is great around Super Bowl time.
Oh, exactly right.
Yeah, so you don't have to plant it on the ground or anything. It's just catch it and that's it.
Yeah, so just catch it and, once you're in the end zone and you've caught it, that's a goal, and then we move on to the next point.
No worries. So what happens if it hits the ground? What's the go?
So if it hits the ground, it's a turnover. So there's a few ways that you can turn the disc over. One is if you throw the frisbee and then someone on the opposition team catches it or hits it away, it's a turnover. If it hits the ground, it's a turnover. And if it goes outside of the field, it's also a turnover.
Oh, there you go. So it doesn't matter what way you hit it?
Yeah, so it doesn't matter who hits it last. It's all that matters is that if the offensive team throws it and the defensive team makes it hits the ground, or it hits the ground on its own accord, it's a turnover.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, if I was ever to play ultimate frisbee, I just would be walking through with karate moves, hoping.
Yeah, karate moves, they're quite effective when you're trying to, swat the frisbee out of the air. So
that's good. Well, I might be all right. Play kung fu fighting as I come through with
it looks like you've got the moves for it. So.
Oh, good. That's brilliant. Righto. So offensive and defensive teams,
yeah,
right?
So there's O and D. So we kind of have two lines. So we send an offensive line on at the start of a game if we're receiving the frisbee, and then we'll play that point, and then after that point hopefully we score, and once we score we'll send our defensive line on to play the next point.
So it really is like NFL, where you have your offensive team and your defensive team.
Yeah, exactly right. But if there is a turnover, the offensive team does need to stay out there until the end of the point, so you can't pause and then send over your other one after a down or something.
Oh, that will. Yeah. Fair enough. You don't want to stop things.
No.
Right, so do you play offensive or defensive?
I'm an offensive player.
Oh,
so
nice.
I'm something called a handler, which is kind of like the quarterback. So they're the one that has the frisbee most of the time, and they're the one that throws it around the field.
Oh, so like a quarterback.
Yeah, like the quarterback.
Yeah, so you got long distance.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So short and long. I like to throw it really far, though.
That's fair. No, that's so fair.
Yeah.
I mean, when I play rugby, I can't throw it very far, but if I could, I would.
Absolutely, yeah. It's just one of those things. Once you learn how to throw it far, you just don't stop. So
no, well, fair enough, honestly. And if you've got people that have got fast legs and they run up, you might as well.
It's perfect. I've got lots of fast players on my team, so I just throw it and they just get there. So.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
well, that works.
It's good. It's a good pairing.
Are you allowed to have a substitute on the field? And by substitute, I mean if I brought my Labrador in to catch frisbees.
I think that in the more social leagues, some people might be okay with that, but as it gets a bit more competitive, they'd be like, no, leave the Labrador on the sideline.
Because I feel like my Labrador Maple would be really good at this
really
game.
Good receiver.
Yeah, sure. She jumps in the air and catches it. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, I'd be happy to hold some tryouts for your dog Maple, and we'll see how she goes.
Might have to start the Ultimate Frisbee Interspecies League.
Yeah, sounds like a lot of fun.
So Ultimate Frisbee, we had a little chat over the break about social and competitive different sides of things. So how is your team going?
So in our social league, which runs on Tuesday nights down at the Dixon playing fields, we're doing quite well actually. We're coming I don't know, like third or fourth in the
Oh,
league
nice.
at the moment.
Yep.
So doing quite well. Got a game tomorrow night, which we should, hopefully smash out of the park. We're called Risk It for the Disc It.
I
Yeah.
like that. I love a good
So,
pun.
yeah, a little play on words there. And so yeah, that's a really great, fun team, just full of lots of friends that we've made over the years from Frisbee. So
Yeah. Oh, wonderful. So you've all like found each other in the league to begin with.
yes, so some of them went to school together and have been to school together for a really, really long time. And then others like me have sort of found them through Frisbee and become friends that way.
Oh, wonderful. So it's all just a big mix of people. That's
yeah,
lovely.
big mix of people, lots and lots of fun.
Yeah. So with your social league, does it take you anywhere in particular? I think you were talking about nationals.
So for our social league, that's just a once a week sort of game and tournament in Canberra, and that stays pretty local. But then for more the national side of things, I'm playing for Fishwick at the moment, which is a men's club, and we'll be going to nationals in I think April this year.
Yeah. Wow. So nationals obviously includes everyone in the country.
Yeah. Yep.
How many teams do you usually get coming to that?
So I'm going to the Division 2 nationals, and there'll be somewhere around about 20 to 30 teams going
Yeah.
there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So ultimate frisbee is pretty big.
Yeah, it's definitely getting there. One of the faster growing sports in, the country and the world. So
Yeah. Wow. I had not. That's awesome.
yeah.
That you get that many people out for it. Yeah. So you said 7 people each team.
Yeah, so 7 people on the field at once,
Oh,
but my
yep.
team will have 20-ish people that we'll be sending to the competition.
Yeah. Wow. So is there sort of strategy to how many so you need 7 people on the field, but
Yep.
like how many you have in your offense or your defense on the bench?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. So the offensive line for my team is usually has a few less people than the defensive line because we often like to try to win as many points as possible, and if we keep scoring, we'll keep sending our defensive line on. So we try to put as many people on the defensive line as possible so they can just keep getting the breaks, as we call it. So when we start on defense, but then end up scoring at the end of the point.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you want, don't you?
Yeah, exactly right. It's how you win the game. So
Is there this is going to sound really silly, but is there like a frisbee toss or something to decide who starts?
No, you're absolutely correct. Yeah, there is. So
Yes!
at the start of a game, you either have 1 or 2 frisbees, and if you have 2, you'll call odds or evens. So if it lands, depending on which side it lands on, odds or even, or if there's just 1, you'll call hills or valleys. And then you can decide if you want to start on offense or defense and which side you want to start on.
There you go. Yeah. So I know in hockey you flip a stick.
Yeah.
And usually it's more inclined to fold one way or another. But yeah, there you go. You literally flip a frisbee. So there's no heads or tails. There's no pattern on one side. Do they
So
call
there's
pattern or...
so you can call picture or I guess no picture
Yeah.
if you want to. But pretty funny as well. The most important toss that we often do is for colour. So you'll need to bring a light and a dark coloured playing shirt. And if 2 teams rock up wearing their dark, we need to flip to see who needs to switch over to their light kit. So that's usually what decides who wins the game mentally at the start.
Oh, yeah.
So-
Well, I mean, if you're like, oh, we wore the same thing, you need to change.
Exactly right. So,
That's a bit of a mind game, isn't
yeah,
it?
it's a bit of a power move that we like to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, it'd win your games mentally, as you said. So your team nationally, how have you gone in the past, or is this a first crack at nationals?
So this is one of my first times. I'm still fairly new to Frisbee, but my team's usually finishes pretty high in the top 10 each year, and I think we've won 2 or 3 times in the past 10 or so years.
Yeah, wow, that's wonderful. Yeah, so wearing those medals or having them hung up at I don't know, is there a clubhouse for Frisbee? Is that a thing?
No, not really. There's usually someone's house that we'll go to for parties and stuff, but
Oh, wonderful.
But not really a formal clubhouse.
Wonderful. So their house is just covered in Frisbee memorabilia.
Absolutely, yeah. I've got some friends that have a wall entirely covered by Frisbees that you can collect from different tournaments and stuff, so...
Yeah, well, I mean, I was just thinking about it, and you'd have a lucky Frisbee, surely.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, what does your lucky Frisbee look like, or is it a secret?
So my lucky Frisbee, it's my favourite Frisbee. It's probably from around about the time that I was born. It's a UC Buckets Frisbee. So it's from right when Frisbee was like first created and started here at UC, and I just found it one day, and I've just kept it, and so yes, pretty cool. Pretty
Wonderful,
special.
yeah. Well, you repping the UC.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. So UC Buckets, do you know much about them?
So they been around for a little while. I don't really know who started it, but they were all up the way until COVID, and then COVID kind of shut us down a little bit, and we've started the club again about 2 years ago, and now we're through the UC Stars. So
Oh, yeah, everyone has to affiliate.
Absolutely.
That's the way.
Yeah.
Become a UC star. As hockey's now had to become UC stars as well. I know rugby league's already UC
yeah, it's pretty
stars.
cool. Lots of cool branding that you can do with the stars. So
yeah, it's interesting. Just the stars don't seem as vicious. Like, we were the Devils at hockey.
yeah,
And vicious Devils, yeah. And the stars, vicious stars just doesn't hit.
yeah. I can't say that the Buckets sounded particularly vicious either. But
That's fair.
But I think once you saw us on the field, you might get a little bit scared. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's more like, oh, yeah, we're the stars, but we look tough.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's definitely what we're going for. So.
Just in the break, we were talking a little bit about some language that's used that's a bit different in Frisbee. I've heard the word huck thrown around, Huck, which I mean, like, I feel like I throw that word out a fair bit in other sports. But what does it mean in the context of ultimate Frisbee?
Yeah, so a huck is when you throw the Frisbee just really far, basically. So a huck is when someone cuts deep towards to your offensive end zone, and you just try to throw it as far as you can for them to run onto it.
So that's your specialty, the huck.
Absolutely, that's my specialty. I like to do a flick huck, which is where I use like sort of a forehand grip, and I'll have my gun fingers and I'll just shoot it out. Yeah, absolutely.
I bet you it makes a really cool sound, like I just made into the microphone.
Yeah.
As it goes past.
That's actually the exact sound that it makes. So
wonderful,
yeah, good.
So, sorry, my throat's not having it today. First day back, obviously. So with ultimate Frisbee,
yeah. So there's some other terms such as the brick, which is when you do a pull. So at the start of a point, the defensive team will throw the Frisbee as far as they can down to the offensive team, and they need to try to work it all the way up back down to score. But if the defensive team throws the disc outside of the field, the other team can call a brick, which is where they get to bring the Frisbee back into the center of the field to start playing from there. So it's a bit of a disadvantage for the defensive team if they do throw it out, and a big advantage for the offensive team if they are able to call a brick.
Yeah, so a bit of a risky play to throw it down that way.
Absolutely. So you try to get as much shape and angle on it as possible, so it's hard to catch, but then the risk that you do with that is you could throw it out. So yeah.
Yeah, so how much shape can you really give a Frisbee?
Oh, a lot. You can put a lot of shape on it. Most of the time you try to throw it as flat as possible because it's easier to sort of read it in the air. But if you want to, you can put lots of shape to make it really sharp and angly, so you can throw it really high with a lot of angle to make it sort of curve all the way around the field.
Oh, yeah, to be fair, I've just thought back to days when I used to Frisbee. back in the old days.
Back in the old days.
Maybe I should get back into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Back in the old days, trying to catch it and just looking like an idiot as it's fallen down and I'm going with it.
Yeah. So when you put angle on it, it fades quite quickly and it can be hard to, try to catch those ones. But it's also a lot of fun to throw with lots of shape on it. So yeah.
Yeah, we talked about uni games also in the break. They're coming up, and was it in Canberra this year?
Yeah, absolutely. So uni games is in Canberra this year, which is super exciting because it means that we get to have all the fun of uni games without all of the costs of travelling and accommodation at the Gold Coast. So it's like a win-win for us.
Yeah, maybe not as warm as the Gold Coast down here, but having free AECOM, I suppose. Well, not free, but like...
Yeah, having a normal accommodation is definitely going to be helpful.
Sleeping in your own bed after going out to the town and all your mates.
It'll be a nice, way for you to relax at the end of the night. So, yeah. But, what we're doing at the moment is trying to get a team together for uni games, which is in September. I think it's from the 7th to the 13th, which is when we'll be playing. So it's about a week long. And if you go onto the UC Sport website, there's an EOY for uni games. You can go out and fill it out and choose a sport that you'd like to play, and obviously you should be choosing ultimate Frisbee. So
well, I mean, do you have to really have known how to play a sport before ultimate Frisbee?
No, definitely not. So ultimate Frisbee is a very inclusive sport. We like to get anyone and everyone into it, and it can be quite tricky to pick up right at the beginning, but once you get past the first little speed bump, it's quite smooth sailing and you pick it up quite quickly after. So yes. Yeah,
easy as. Well, it sounds like a good opportunity to go just have a bit of fun, meet new people and play a bit of Frisbee.
Yeah, absolutely. If you wanna go to uni games and just have a bit of fun instead of really try and play a really competitive sport, definitely Frisbee's quite good. We'll still obviously be trying to win, but there's not as much of the competitive and super intense trainings and stuff beforehand. So
Well, yeah, sounds like a good deal, really.
absolutely.
I mean, I'll be behaving myself, hopefully, actually doing trainings and things for my sport. But I might have to give that a check out. It actually sounds like an all right deal to me.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a lot of fun, and you'll meet a lot of great people doing it. So
Yeah, have you participated in a uni games before?
no, not yet. So we haven't had enough people in the past to send a team. We have in like long history past, but not in recent times. We haven't had enough people yet. So hopefully this year's the year that we can muster together a team and go and flog some other unis.
That's it. Well, I'm feeling since it's close to home, surely.
Yeah,
Surely you'll get numbers and go flog some other unis.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Let's say, do you have a vendetta out against anyone, or is it?
Oh, not really. There's no one in particular that I want to beat. The only team that would have to beat would be ANU.
Oh,
and,
well, I mean, that's just a Canberra staple, isn't it?
It's just a given, yeah. Luckily, last year, I think we faced them 3 times and beat them 3 times.
Oh,
so
that's what you want to hear.
it was a good year last year.
On that note, I do love you, all my ANU friends, family, and all that jazz.
Yes, absolutely.
But we will flog you in sport. That's how we roll here, actually.
That's correct. Love ANU, but leave us to the sport.
That's fair. Yeah, so in the break, we were memeing a little bit and talked about colours of Frisbee and colours of Frisbees, and I compared it to lightsabers. Is it like that? Do you see someone with a red Frisbee and go, oh?
So it's not so much about the physical Frisbee itself, like the piece of plastic. Usually we try to stick to white. If you've got a coloured Frisbee, it's a little bit weird. But playing kits, though, definitely. You look at the playing kits, and Fishwick is one of the only teams in Australia that wears orange. So we looked, pretty special when we're out on the field, and we're definitely very recognisable. So it is kind of like you get chosen by your club, and you get that kit, and that sort of like you wear it with pride.
Yeah, wonderful. So you'd have your crest on there as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's not just the colour orange.
No, so you've got the orange as like the base, and it's like any other kit where you have your name and your number on the back, and then a few different logos or sponsors on it, and yeah, definitely.
Do you get to choose your own number for Frisbee, or do you have to?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, you get to choose it. If all the numbers that you've chosen have been taken, you do kind of just get allotted one. But yeah, you do get to choose your number.
Did you get to pick yours?
Sad story. No, I chose 3 different numbers the first time I represented ACT, and they said nope, they've all been taken. Here's number 25, but I'm not upset about number 25. I've stuck with it for since my career.
25 and feeling alive.
Exactly.
Something
right.
like that.
Yeah,
Have you found anything to resonate with the number 25 so
far? No, but lots of good memories, I guess, wearing the number 25. So we'll keep it going forward from there.
It makes me think of that SpongeBob bit. This is like a really niche thing. Patrick and SpongeBob are sitting together, which is funny that your name's Patrick. SpongeBob goes, yeah, you know what's funnier than 24? 25.
Oh, I love SpongeBob.
Well, there you go. There's your meaning behind number 25.
There you go.
Yeah, wonderful. So, yeah, did you see any teams dressed in red and you're like, oh, they're the bad guys because they're the opposition, well, they're a bit dangerous.
So the women's team in Canberra called Factory, they wear red and they can look quite intimidating when they're out on the field. They're quite a strong team. So when they're wearing their red, it's game time.
It's good to hear that there's a big, strong women's team out there.
Absolutely.
They're kicking ass. Good stuff. I don't actually know if I'm allowed to say that word, but here we are anyway. So we've reached our wacky portion of the podcast today. Chess boxing. So chess boxing, how you play it is exactly how it sounds. You play a round of chess and then you box and you alternate between the two. And the ways you can win is by knocking someone out in the boxing ring or checkmating someone in chess. So totally random, totally wonderful. I hear it's big in the UK. I know I haven't seen a match live at all. But, crazy.
Yeah, it sounds really entertaining to watch and I guess take part in because I'm not very good at chess and I'm definitely not very good at boxing. But I feel like if after you're not doing very well at chess, you can go and take your anger out on someone and then, beat them up a little bit and then go back. And once you've got your cool head, you might be able to do some better chess afterwards. So.
Yeah, like the physicalness of boxing and then chess. I feel like I feel like if you got whacked around hard enough in the boxing ring, your chest would severely decline.
Yeah. So you'd definitely be hoping to get the punches in instead of punches in your face. But
I'd hope so. And I mean, if I were to play chess boxing, I'd hope that the first chess match ended in a result.
Ended quickly, yeah. Yes,
so I didn't have to
definitely
get
same.
to that bit.
Definitely same,
Yeah, so you can also get knocked out or lose if you opt to retire, or if you take too long making your chess move, or if you take too long in the ring making a move.
Yeah.
So you just have to be a part of it. It's not one of those ones where you can just kind of stand on the side and pick grass like
Yeah,
those kids who play.
Definitely all or nothing this sport.
You know those kids, like you'd play soccer or, I don't know, league tag or something growing up, and there'd be that one kid picking grass.
Kind of off to the side, sitting down.
I feel like I give like the adult version of that. I played soccer this spring, and I was just having a mad chat to everyone, and the ADHD was just shining
through.
It's like, do you like soccer? I've got no idea how to play. I'm just standing here. If the ball comes near me, I kick it.
Yeah, it's definitely same as me. When I'm on the sideline, it's just chit chat the whole time, and then people are like, "No, we need to focus." I'm like, "Nah, but chatting's fun." So.
Yeah, that's so me. I feel that. We've reached the end of our show today. I'd like to thank Patrick from the Ultimate Frisbee UC Stars Club for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'll just give a quick shout out to our Instagram, UC Stars Ultimate. So that's on Instagram. And that's just where we post, all our fun little events that are going on. And there's a few links in our description to memberships and Facebook and, whatnot, things like that. So, but yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, no worries. And if you're feeling like a uni games might be a go for you and you haven't picked a sport, especially by September, you'd be in a bit of trouble. But the UC Stars Ultimate Frisbee Club is here to dig you out of that hole you put yourself in and to get you on the grog and all that good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. The more the merrier,
That's it, yeah. I think I've thought of a question this week. If you could pick any colour Frisbee, even though white is technically the best, any colour Frisbee to play Ultimate Frisbee with, like lightsabers, what colour would you pick? Feel free to DM me at ontherighttrack.podcast. I'd love to hear from all my mates anyway, regardless of what's going on. If you want to answer the question or not, just say g'day. Thanks for joining us again, whether you're on UCFM's website, listening to me on the radio, or if you're on Spotify. It's wonderful. And we'll see you in another podcast episode.